Artificial intelligence is driving digital transformation across telecom, cities and industries. In this Fearless Future podcast, brought to India by HTLabs, we explore how AI is reshaping infrastructure, powering innovation and redefining how businesses and governments serve people. This is Digital Transformation and AI for Telcos, Cities and Industries, a conversation with pioneers who are building the future. Let's meet our distinguished guests.
Artificial intelligence, everybody calls it the energy, the new energy. So we refer to data as the new oil, we refer to AI as the new energy. But when we start going a level deeper, right, what does this concept of new energy mean? It means that
Demetris, Skourides, Chief Scientist for the Republic of Cyprus, a global technology leader who bridges science, policy and innovation. With his vision, he pushes us to reimagine how artificial intelligence can transform societies at scale.
It's a very interesting kids book called How to Train a Dragon, right? So I go back to that because AI is like a dragon, but you need somebody to train it. It's a model which is evolving, right? And you need to tell it what's right, what's wrong. Because it doesn't have borders, it doesn't have a conscience. So you need that human intervention to tell AI, hey, boss, this is right, this is wrong. And AI has the competence and the knowledge to overwrite what you're telling. So you need to continuously intervene and control it. So AI will work for you as long as you upskill yourself to ready to make yourself work for it.
Avinash Mudaliar, co-founder and CEO of HTLabs, a media tech entrepreneur shaping the future of content and platforms. With curiosity and clarity, he explores how AI can inspire us to think differently and to build solutions that truly work for people.
AI is a disruptive technology, and whenever something disruptive comes in, this debate happens. It happened probably when IT was gaining prominence, that IT would take up jobs. It would have happened 100 years back when automobile came in and saying horse carts would not be needed. But job roles shift, and that's going to happen.
Devroop, Dhar, co-founder and CEO at Primus Partners, a strategist and advisor to governments and industries. He brings a sharp lens to AI's disruptive power and what its adoption means for jobs, its roles, and the future of work.
We are gathered to discuss digital transformation and AI for telcos, platforms including media, smart cities and industries, enablers for a human-centric focus. In brief, how AI and digital transformation can shape smarter systems, enable new business models, and most importantly, serve people.
Pavan R. Chawla, founder-editor of MediaBrief.com and host of its flagship podcast. He steers a global dialogue on artificial intelligence, digital transformation and innovation, unfolding insights, breakthroughs and the future of industries and societies. Join us as we dive into a conversation that unlocks ideas and sparks innovation for telcos, cities and industries.
Hello and welcome. I'm Pavan R. Chawla, founder editor of MediaBrief.com and host of its flagship podcast. And today I'm delighted to be here on behalf of HTLabs and for HTLabs, recording a wonderful and I'm sure it's going to be a really memorable podcast with three distinguished experts who are here. Mr. Demetris, Skourides, Chief Scientist, Republic of Cyprus. Mr. Devroop, Dhar, co-founder and CEO at Primus Partners. And Mr. Avinash Mudaliar, co-founder and CEO of HTLabs. Gentlemen, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are gathered to discuss digital transformation and AI for telcos, platforms including media, smart cities and industries, enablers for a human-centric focus. In brief, how AI and digital transformation can shape smarter systems, enable new business models, and most importantly, serve people. But before we begin, let me have the pleasure of introducing my guests. Let me begin with Mr. Demetris Skourides, Chief Scientist of Research, Innovation and Technology, Republic of Cyprus. He advises the President on digital transformation, chairs the Research Innovation Foundation, and represents Cyprus at European level on the Board of Governors of JRC, European Scientific Advisor Forum. A former AWS strategist and Oracle leader, he has pioneered cloud transformation, mentored more than 100 startups, delivered over 300 keynotes, and earned more than 90 global accolades. Mr. Skourides, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, sir.
And next is Mr. Devroop, Dhar, co-founder and CEO at Primus Partners India. He heads the data and the digital practice in India. And with more than 2 decades of consulting experience, he has worked extensively on AI, digital transformation, and policy for public and private sector clients. Earlier, he had leadership roles with KPMG, Accenture, PwC, and TCS. Devroop Dhar, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on the show.
And sitting right next to me, I am delighted to introduce and welcome Mr. Avinash Mudaliar, co-founder and CEO of HTLabs. Avinash has more than 23 years of leadership in media and technology. He co-founded Ghana, created the iconic Saregama Caravan, and at HTLabs has launched innovative platforms including OTT Play, Slurp, HT School, and Mint Genie. Avinash, welcome, and we'll be talking about some of the great stuff you've also done on the media space with AI. So,
Thanks, Pavan. Really fun to be here.
let's begin. And I'm going to begin with someone I consider our chief guest today, a wonderful, wonderful leader from Cyprus, the chief scientist of Cyprus. So, Mr. Skourides, how do you see AI and digital transformation changing the role of telcos and digital platforms in society over the next decade? That is my question, which I wanted to answer after this one. I just remembered I must ask you. You are in India. It's a very important visit for the chief scientist of Cyprus, that is you, to be in India. So first, just tell us in brief what brings you here. I'm sure that there are glad tidings for everybody.
Thank you very much again, and good morning to all. In June, we had a visit in Cyprus where His Excellency Prime Minister Moody visited our President, His Excellency President Nikos Christodoulidis, where we basically set a fourth, foundation on a strategic cooperation. As part of this, this week we are here. There is the Indian Chamber of Commerce that is hosting a series of sessions. We will be presenting the Minister of Digital Policy of Research and Innovation, Dr. Nikodimos Damianou, will also be incoming into the nation. We have a series of meetings with government officials, with private companies, with, I would say, enablers and orchestrators and innovators like yourself who are really accelerating the change. And this visit is the first visit after the visit of the Prime Minister, as we are building, the relationship to really start building the bridge between India and Europe, with Cyprus as a gateway.
Wonderful, wonderful, really good. And, I wish all of us well. Great outcomes should come out of this meeting and your visit, of course. So, my question to you, sir, is how do you see AI and digital transformation on digital platforms and the role of telcos? How does this AI transformation change the roles of platforms and telcos in society? How do you see it changing in the next decade or so?
So first of all, let's talk about, telcos. I think it's worth understanding and basically accepting that the traditional business models of telcos are already being challenged with, the era of the digital transformation that we see. We see, different challenges like telco models being debundled, right, or really creating value in different way. And the notion or the complexity is to understand what is the effect that artificial intelligence is bringing, right? So artificial intelligence, everybody calls it the energy, the new energy. So we refer to data as the new oil. We refer to AI as the new energy. But when we start going a level deeper, right, what does this concept of new energy means? It means that AI can really democratize information. It democratizes the way people access insight. It democratizes the way people experience new products, the way people experience outcomes, right? And this is a fundamental transformer for the traditional businesses of telcos, right? Who have been used to, offering packaged products, minutes, data, right? Now suddenly this creates a wealth of opportunities that are really going to be enabled with artificial intelligence. Now, one of the opportunities that artificial intelligence can bring, to telcos who serve their customers is the ability for them to provide real-time, personalized, actionable insight, right?
Excellent. So, wonderful. And you spoke about AI. which is like really the big enabler. What other emerging technologies, Mr. Skourides, example 5G, edge computing, IoT, will have the greatest impact on building smarter cities and industries?
So, as we are, people refer to AI, right? However, we all need to acknowledge that AI itself cannot operate without data, right? And for us to have more data, we need access to different types of sensors, that is IoT, which we refer to as Internet of Things. But the most important thing for us to understand is that we have a phenomenal change of landscape. So we have been used to really consolidating everything into the center and basically having data at the center. We are now moving right to an era where we will have more data and more innovation happening at the edge, at the mobile devices, at the devices that each and everyone uses, right, etc. Right. So we see an inflection point where we have IoT, we have edge computing, we have cloud computing, we have AI at the edge, coordinated. And what's going to be the game changer is how we create the new boundaries, the new regulations, the new policies that will allow us to be able to really take the insight right and be able to move it. And to give you an example, some countries have even gone to the point where they can even target the citizens, right, and say, hey, you are actually moving across this shopping mall, has X% discount on a specific area, just because they understand that that customer has, right, an affinity for lifestyle shopping. So all of these new experiences, the new preferences, are going to be defined using these new technologies.
Fantastic. Deepak, tiny little addition to that, any comment? Short one.
No, I think he has touched upon the right points. So hyper-localization, hyper-personalization of services.
Absolutely.
That's going to be the future.
Absolutely. Mr. Skourides, how can telcos integrate AI to support smart cities and industrial automation? Telcos specifically is what I'm talking about.
So first of all, let me state that from a European perspective, there is a big direction towards a strategy of really creating what we call sustainable and resilient cities. That basically drives, right, a coordinated strategy for nations and for cities to reduce for what we call, the carbon emissions, and to basically become much more resilient. Telcos are one of the most basic and most instrumental pillars, because they have access to the actual data, right, to the actual usage of the cities that are the citizens that are basically moving around, or let's say navigating across the city. So the telcos leveraging AI essentially means being able to build, the next generation data lakes, the data warehouses, the governance that will actually allow them to be able to govern, use, maximize the data usage without violating what we call, those human values and the GDPR and all of these, I would say,
Correct.
regulations and guidelines across the world that are important, that, build on the privacy. And all of this at a point that is cost efficient, right, both for the citizens, for the customers, and also for society.
Right. And sir, you actually answered part of this question that I'm going to ask you now towards the end of what you just said. But it's a very important question, and as a statesman and an empowerer of so much across continents that you do so well, if I may say so myself, what policy frameworks or regulatory sandboxes are essential for responsible AI adoption?
Yeah. So everybody talks about responsible AI and about ethical AI. What we are doing in Europe, we have a framework that basically governs which direction we are going to be moving with artificial intelligence. It is referred to as the EU AI Act. The EU AI Act basically governs the usage of artificial intelligence with specific use cases. And the area that is responsible here, or is important for us, is that each nation defines what we refer to competence bodies or notifying bodies that are basically notifying the environment with respect to their obligations. At the same point of time, the implementation of EU AI Act brings in force specific types of measures and checks that implementers and specifically the companies introducing AI solutions needs to meet, right? Does it comply, for example, to data protection? Is the data available? Is it transparent? Can it be replicable? Can it actually, guarantee openness? However, going to the test bed, each nation is actually developing their sandboxes. We have a body in Cyprus, which is the Office of the Commissioner of Telecommunications, which is the notifying body and the body responsible for what we call, the sandbox. The Deputy Ministry of Digital Policy and Innovation is the responsible part for the strategy. Myself, I act as the chairman of the national strategy with a task force to update the strategy. But what is important is having these discussions across countries, across continents, to start creating what we call the handshake, meaning in Europe we support open data, open science, so that we can share. We wish now with this new relationship and partnership with India to have the discussions between the ministries so that we come closer to a framework where we could share some of the basic data. And again, I don't want to go out of the discussion, not private data, but data that we could use to basically start training models. And I think that is the foundation.
Excellent.
If I could just add one point here. I think this year Cyprus is taking up the presidency of the European Council. So it's a great opportunity, I think, to spread all of it through the whole of Europe and actually bring it to global paradigms in terms of governance, in terms of frameworks around AI.
Yes, indeed. So Cyprus is assuming the presidency in January 2026. There is a lot of work that I think fellow ministers are each driving in their direction. There is a lot to be done on AI across adoption and basically for society, for research. And in fact, we are doing at the task force level a lot of work to basically prepare for the new era of AI, right? How does it transform workplace? How does it transform industry? How does it transform public sector? How does it transform, law and interaction? And last but not least, the amount of infrastructure required. And I would like to say, gentlemen, here, one of the things that is also a great opportunity for us as Cyprus in this partnership with India is that India is one of the world's superpowers when it comes to artificial intelligence. Right, you are also a leading pioneer when it comes to space in the top 5. You're in the energy field. You are number 1 also when it comes to the development of digital skills and especially for AI. So this partnership is a partnership that builds on top of, I would say, the availability of skills, the know-how of that, extensive experience of what is required in the new era of AI. And at the same time, as we really evolve and develop these policies. Remember, policy, strategy, structure, tactic, executions all come together, and I think this partnership is well posed to develop that.
Wonderful, wonderful. That was really a fantastic overview, and I salute your vision actually. And I'm sure that everything you said about India and Cyprus coming together is going to bear great and immense fruit. Really, really wonderful. So I will now pivot to Devroop Dhar. Devroop, platforms from e-commerce to fintech are already AI heavy. From your experience with digital public infrastructure, what do you see as the next breakthroughs that will make platforms more inclusive and human-centric? Remember that human-centric hyphenation is the important part also, please.
So I think you have laid 2 very important points, inclusive and human-centric. So the biggest trend that is coming up that's going to play a critical role is the hyper-personalization. If you look at, you spoke about fintechs, you spoke about e-commerce. If we just take example of fintechs. So earlier, if I would want a financial product, there's one product in the market, you take it or leave it. Today, with the data which is available, fintechs are able to offer me hyper-personalized service. So it would take data from all sources and give me something that is exactly about for my need. Similarly, you spoke about inclusiveness. So what's going to happen is cost of service is going to go down. and it's going to go down tremendously. So as a fintech, as a financial services organization, the organizations would be able to offer customized services, would be able to offer services to a larger part of the population, and hence your cost of service, time to service would go down, inclusiveness would come in.
Excellent.
Similarly, if you talk about e-commerce also, there's tremendous hyper-personalization which is possible. You go to an e-commerce site, using data, it can pinpoint saying that this is the color that you like. And products similar to your like would come in. And the same thing is spreading to what we call as digital public infrastructure.
Sure, I absolutely get what you're saying, and this can be a very, very long discussion. And one fantastic thing that I'm going to touch upon with Avinash is how they are personalizing stuff beautifully for on OTT Play, which is India's biggest aggregator, on entertainment streaming platforms. But and this my next question actually is to the both of you. Okay, in fact, all of you, but every new wave of AI sparks fears of job losses. How do you see AI's impact on jobs in telcos, cities, and industries? You want to quickly take that, and then we'll come to
Sure.
Mr.
So
Skourides?
my take is more than job losses. I don't think there would be net job loss. There would be shifting of roles. Something which was relevant today would not be relevant in days to come, but more jobs in different spectrum would get created. Like how do you manage these AI models? How do you look at data labeling? How do you look at managing all the AI systems? So jobs would get created there. There would be some job roles which would get redundant.
Got it. Mr. Skourides?
I would like to first of all commend you for asking this difficult question, because many people are afraid of it. And when we set out to create this series called The Fearless Future, was to help people understand that change brings new opportunities. So there is a shift. What we will see is jobs being redefined, or the tasks within jobs being redefined. We do see that some jobs are going to be radically changed, but I would say AI brings an opportunity that creates value faster, and it lowers down the opportunity for people to jump onto this. So let me give you an example. An administration, a traditional PA, used to really looking through an inbox, to managing calendars, and to be able to really make sure that her executives are very, very productive. With the power of this technology, with artificial intelligence, can pivot into something called a digital workplace orchestrator, where basically they become a fundamental enabler of value that is created, because they can have documents faster, they can summarize, they can search for information, they can compare, they can actually ask questions that bring a lot of value. So this essentially, right, raises the bar up, and it enables everybody to focus on value-added tasks and activities, and use what we call artificial intelligence and tools like AGI for more overhead general administrative tasks. Now this is a fundamental reshift of how we create value, and this, I believe, will unlock a lot of trapped value in the economy, right? In a recent article I had in one of the newspapers in Cyprus, I actually outlined 20 new jobs that I foresee coming into the future. As we're saying, we have new jobs that will be coming. We have new positions, and these, as we've seen from, I would say, studies done by McKinsey, by PwC, by Accenture, and other independent analysts, show that people with AI skills are going to actually have a higher earning than before. But this all needs time, and this is where I think governments, societies, have an obligation to really help create those paths for people to have the right enablement, the digital skill to be there, and at the end of, I think, the path to really arm people with the technology to be there. So I would say, don't fear. Start embracing the technology. You can start with as simple as asking questions and moving forward.
Wonderful. Roles will shift through AI, and so many more jobs also will come up. So wonderful.
I actually have a
Please.
point of view over here. This question has been asked throughout evolution. So I have a slightly philosophical answer over here. I mean, I'd like to go back to Darwin's theory of evolution, right? I think quite a lot of people know that at one particular point in time, all humans actually had tails, and then that became a part of their coccyx, which strengthened their vertebra. So the point over here that I'm trying to make is AI is not here to take jobs. It's actually the other way around. It's going to be making people more relevant, and AI is here to give more jobs, which people need to be ready to take.
Wonderful.
Right? So that's point number one. Point number two is I keep reading that AI can code. AI can like literally replenish code and start a company in a day. It can't. It really can't. Okay, because you need somebody to control. There's this very interesting kids book called How to Train a Dragon, right? So I go back to that because AI is like a dragon, but you need somebody to train it.
Wonderful.
It's a model which is evolving, right? And you need to tell it what's right, what's wrong, because it doesn't have borders. It doesn't have a conscience.
Excellent.
So you need that human intervention to tell AI, hey, bros, this is right, this is wrong. And AI has the competence and the knowledge to overwrite what you're telling. So you need to continuously intervene and control it. So AI will work for you as long as you upskill yourself to ready to make yourself work for it.
Excellent.
So that's the way I look at AI, right? So it can be the solution. It's like silly putty in your arms, right? You can make it into a ball and throw it and harm someone, or you can make it into something beautiful like a Ganesha idol. So you figure out what you want to do with it.
And to build on top of what Mr. Mudaliar here has just said, the important part is that bringing the human in the center, human-centric AI or human-augmented AI empowers people to be supported by technology, right, and to become better operators. As Mr. Avinash has said, it's important for people to be ready, and this is something that we're seeing across the world. I mean, if you look at some of the leading medical schools, you go Stanford Medical School, or the John Hopkins, or others like the NHS, they have actually made usage of AI within medical doctors as part of their training an enabler, right, so that people can start accessing this, right?
And if I could just add a point, like when AI is a disruptive technology, and whenever something disruptive comes in, this debate happens. It happened probably when IT was gaining prominence, that IT would take up jobs. It would have happened 100 years back when automobile came in and saying horse carts would not be needed. But job roles shift, and that's going to happen.
Wonderful.
And building on that, Devroop, how many people feared that Excel would have, I think, sidelined accountants,
Absolutely.
right? Was that the case or not?
No, it just enables.
It just enabled, and it enabled, such an industry to move faster. And I think, concluding back to our audience, when we look back to 70 years, right, 70% of the jobs that existed in the 50s were not here today, right? So technology is an enabler, and we need to, I think of ways of how we can actually bring it into the context, redesign jobs, and leverage technology to help humanity, help create benefits for society.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and I was perusing LinkedIn the other day, and I mean, LinkedIn is not one of my favorite sites, but yeah, on and off I go there. But I keep seeing many companies putting out just job description for prompt engineers. Now, did you have the job description 2 years ago? What is a prompt engineer? Right? So
Exactly.
Classic example, right?
Absolutely. Wonderful overview, and even little deep dives into various aspects of AI. And I love how you put it all together on the jobs front also. And you, with your philosophic view, was very, very interesting. All of you gentlemen, thank you very much. Okay. Looking ahead is something very, very interesting for me. So far, we've looked at AI and digital transformation from the angles of governance, telco, and large-scale systems. But AI is also reshaping how we consume and engage with content every day, Avinash. And media in particular has seen some of the most visible and relatable applications of AI, from sports coverage to streaming. And that's where I'd like to bring in someone who I am fortunate to call a good friend, and someone whose work I've respected a great deal, Avinash Mudaliar.
Thanks, Pavan. Yeah.
So, OTT Play has done some fantastic work, and if you look even at media in general, okay, it has done fantastic work with sports on linear TV and digital, with pacey, well-cut highlights ready in just 3 minutes after a whole day of play, and so that's really good. And on streaming platforms, particularly solving the biggest challenges of content, and which is content suggestion on the biggest aggregator of India, which is OTT Play. So, Avinash, here are some questions for you, okay, to take this thing further.
But I just like to before, I don't like taking credit for stuff which I don't do. I'd actually firstly like to thank my partners who actually create those highlight bits, and we are just a framework who show them. So it's actually the content creators who do it, the partners.
Wonderful.
So big kudos and credits to them. We bring it all together, right?
It's a partnership of tech and creativity.
Yeah.
And, absolutely, totally
Our
understand
content
that.
partners
So,
do a lot of great work behind the scenes and literally putting the ecosystem together. And
Wonderful.
We literally are the overlay of product and technology and AI, which literally bring it all onto one platform and take it to the masses. But yeah, I'm happy to hear your question.
yes, collaboration is all where it is. OTT Play has seen impressive growth in the streaming space. How are you leveraging AI to enhance content recommendations and personalize the user experience, Avinash?
Okay, this might be like a slightly a small and slow history lesson, right? I'll have to start from the beginning. See, I'll tell you what, right? We started off with trying to solve just 3 basic problems. I'm not a very intelligent man, so I thought start off with solving some basic problems which I myself have had in my life, right? There are so many OTTs. So, which OTT do I watch? What to watch is problem number 1. 2, there are so many shows. So, where do I watch them? That's 2. The third is there so many OTTs again. How much subscription do I pay?
Right.
And where do I go and decide how much subscription do I pay? So these are like the third question is broken into 2 parts, right?
Sure,
so
please.
One is what should be the subscription and where do I need to go and pay it? And there was not one single interface which literally solved my problems, right? And data says, then we did some research. We realized that 72% of the people literally find the recommendations coming to them totally irrelevant.
Yes.
Right? 64% of people are just continuously scrolling on their phone for 23 minutes, not finding the content they want to watch when they're sitting with their families.
Okay.
And this is the kind of data which was coming out. So 26 minutes is actually possibly the size of a show, 21 to 26 minutes. And just imagine you're spending 23 minutes trying to figure out what you want to watch with your family, right? And then you go to multiple OTT platforms and there is from like $199 to like $599, you have like subscriptions and you don't know what you're kind of buying.
Right.
So these are the problems, right? So where do we come in? We literally brought all the 25 plus partners on one platform.
We is OTT Play.
We is OTT Play, right?
Yeah.
We brought them all onto one platform. Then we built an AI layer, right? Which not only started solving the what to watch program. Now the problem right now is the problem of choice, right? You have 25 plus OTTs, which means we have 100,000 plus pieces of content on platform with over 200 pieces of content being added every week. Wow. This is other than the live channels, which is a 500 plus live channels which we are giving. So it's a humongous quantity problem. So the problem, we started with solving the problem of abundance, but abundance itself became the problem. So we had to build a layer on top of it. And that's where AI came in, right? Literally saying that, hey, this is the guy, he's from Airoli, this is what he wants to watch.
Yeah,
so don't give him anything else. This is the guy, he's from Bandra, this is what he wants to watch. To the extent that if you move from South Bombay to Vashi, right? South Bombay consumes only English content. They don't even watch Hindi content. And Vashi obviously consumes heavy Marathi and Hindi content. So in one city, this is what AI teaches us what to do. So
that's
just how
customization of one. Literally.
Yeah, just customization of the individual, because boss, it's bang for the buck. If the guy is paying $199, he wants to know what to watch. He wants subscriptions which are pocket friendly. I'll come to the subscription bit. And more importantly, he wants content which is of value to him.
And you want to keep him on the platform for a longer period of time.
See, my business is not the acquisition business. My business is the renewal business.
Got it.
So I actually grade my business on M1, M2, M3 renewals and return rates.
Okay.
That's the first part. The second part is, so I now spoke to you about, the abundance problem. The second part is the pricing problem, right? So the AI and the LLM layers literally tells us how to give real-time pricing.
Got it.
What is the pricing propensity? What is the propensity of this individual to buy? How much money does he have? In the past, with our data which we have,
History,
we don't, look at other. There are data privacy laws. So we look at the data which we crunch, and we clearly know his history, right? When is his propensity to pay? When does money come in? And then how much can he pay for that particular point in time? For example, right now the Asia Cup is on. So we are focusing on the cricket matches and putting out sport.
Got it.
But then suddenly the movie Coolie released on Amazon Prime. So we had to map both. So these kind of challenges AI helps us solve.
You're able to face real time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
solve and not face, solve.
Great.
So that's kind of where we are.
And OTT play has seen impressive growth in the streaming space. So how are you leveraging AI to, you already said how you are enhancing content recommendations and personalizing the user experience. But you also spoke about, or maybe you should walk us through how that works in practice and how it solves what to watch, because it's on the basis of a solid AI-driven engine. So
I'll
tell us a little bit about that in short.
It's a very beautiful question. Let me try and answer that, okay? Let's talk about content, right? Content comes with metadata. Let's talk about a piece of content. It comes with metadata, right? The metadata which comes from our partners are pretty much, minimal, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we need to start enriching that data because you're the one who knows your subscriber. So we enrich the data not only on basis of who's the cast, who's the crew, or how long is the movie, or what is the base genre of the movie, which will be like something like thriller or romantic. We actually get into sentiment. We get into emotional analysis. We get into moods. So, for example, India consumes content by mood. It also consumes music by mood. Nowhere across the world do we say Kishore Kumar's sad songs or Kishore Kumar's happy songs. Right? It's a very Indian way of content consumption, if you've noticed.
Correct.
Right? Muhammad Rafi's sad songs. Right? That's kind of where we are cracking it.
Okay.
So we go regional. Our LLMs are trained on regional languages.
Wow.
So for example, if you're watching a Fahad Fazal movie called Trance, right? It's on Netflix. Now, the recommendations will literally talk to you about the core ethos of the movie. Right? That movie was about, a person who's falsifying himself as a, religion promoter and stuff like that. But then what happens is you pick up that piece of content and then the recommendations come across multiple languages with the core value of that piece of content.
Fabulous.
It's not other Fahad Fazal movies. I'll give you another simpler example, right? Just imagine you're watching Hercule Poirot on Sony Live. Okay, all the Hercule Poirots are available on Sony Live.
Correct.
The recommendations on Sony Live which we give would be Charlie Chopra, which is a retelling of a Hercule Poirot story by one of the current famous directors, Vishal Bharadwaj. Then we push him to Tamil, right? And we give him a Tamil movie based on Agatha Christie. Or we push him to Shemaru and we give him a movie like Gumnaam, which was based on and then they were none, again based on Agatha Christie. Now, this kind of intelligence humans can only assume, right? But AI literally powers that.
Fantastic.
Right?
Fantastic.
And this is how we are training our LLMs. We don't build the LLMs. Obviously, the LLMs have been built, but we build our wrappers around these LLMs to super personalize.
No, and I can vouch for that because I'm a subscriber of OTT Play, and I've seen that it really makes it easy and gives some very interesting, slightly, adjacent kind of themes and excellent. And what is mind-boggling is the kind of infrastructure and tech and the stacks that you must have behind to power something so vast and pick up and do literally customization of one. Which brings me, and I will switch gears, Avinash here. HT has a legacy spanning decades. Tell us about the work you've led around with your teams, right? I do understand that. Tell us about the work you've led around digitizing and cataloging the HT archives. You've digitized the entire archives from the first newspaper to the present, right? And that would be, amazing. So please tell us how you've done that. Everything. How much time did it take? Just a short answer to a long question.
Okay, so very quickly, HT was founded on September 24th, 100 years ago.
Right.
Okay, I joined this organization around 6 years ago, 5.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And the first mandate given to me was, hey, you've digitized the whole of the Saregama archives, all the Saregama music, and you actually built a physical device called Karma. So can you do something like that for us? So that was one of my first mandates. It was not even OTT play. I said, yeah, it sounds like an interesting problem to solve. We should be able to take a shot at it. So actually, if you look at it, we have 120 crore newspapers from the day it was started. We have 80 lakh images, right? And all of them were not even with HT. So it was with the University of Minnesota. It was with Nehru Memorial. It is in papers which are broken all across the world. So literally first we had to bring it all together. Then we used OCR to digitize it. Then we converted them into PDFs. Then we built a data asset management system. Then we built an analytics system to see.
How much time did all this?
It took a couple of years.
Fantastic.
And right now we've digitized 100% of all the content, each and every newspaper of HT.
Available on tap.
Yeah. You can on tap.
Fantastic.
And the clientele is also extremely eclectic.
That is my next question. Let me ask you that.
Sure.
That would be amazing for some very significant audiences, like you said, and across areas, functions, sectors, across the countries. I mean, researchers, institutions, corporates. Please tell me which are the main massy kind of audiences and the eclectic ones too, because the eclectic ones will really do deep search and deep dive.
Yeah. So see, for example, deep search, deep dives are okay. It's broken into two parts. Right?
Yeah.
We work with a partner called ProQuest who does the redistribution, basically the licensing of this kind of eclectic content, because it's pretty expensive content. You can't. I can't just put it out for consumption.
Sure, I got that.
Yeah. Right? So that's there, and it literally gets picked up with by people who are doing their PhDs, by academic institutions, etc., who want to use. Obviously, HT was literally the last word and the first word when it came to editorial content, right, in India. So a lot of our content goes into cross-referencing. A lot of movie writers actually refer to our content to make scripts for their movies. Yeah. Wow. And it's a very eclectic.
It reminds me of a printed book. This kind of stuff called Plots Unlimited, some 25 years ago.
Similar, yes.
Very remember similar. That? Yeah.
So this and it's a high subscription fee, and you have the largest organizations in America and the libraries of across the world picking up the subscription to it, so that this can be consumed by them.
This is a fantastic achievement.
Right?
That's digitizing of
that's
the whole
the eclectic
thing.
bit. The massy bit, obviously, we are part of HT, so our HT editorial has entire access to it, and they do a great job, because at a push of a button, you can literally know what was the first ever press release or first ever note on Indira Gandhi when she even started her career till the last day of her life. So it's all documented on HT and cross-referenced for our editorial ecosystem to pick up and use in their articles.
Excellent. So we're coming to the end of our conversation now.
Yeah, sure.
But I would like to invite Mr. Skourides and you, Devroop, any short comment on this? You actually explained it very beautifully. You laid it out with hyper-personalization, hyper-localization rather, and all of that actually has dovetailed beautifully into this wonderful rollout of what you all have done in the media space with OTT Play.
Yeah, and I just wanted to tell you one more thing, right? Now, it's interesting that we've used AI to do all this, but then we went one step further and we've literally built a business around it. where you can literally buy HT memorabilia on stores. So you can buy mugs, you can buy, if it's your birthday, I can literally customize, if it's your 50th birthday, the last 50
years ago.
From the day you're born to
Lovely,
the present day, I
lovely.
can actually make a birthday gift and send it to you.
Superb, superb. So I've really got a fantastic collection of thoughts, insights, and I would like to do a slightly big picture closing, which is very simple. One critical action for governments and companies to harness AI responsibly in the next 5 years.
I will actually try to be very short and give you two.
Please.
One answer building on the summary that we've just seen.
Yes.
We've just seen throughout the discussion today how AI actually is already here in, let's say, the hyper-personalization content targeting area and how it has created value. So to our guests, what I would like to say is that think of how you can use technologies like artificial intelligence to unlock trapped value, to create value for your users, and how you can capture that value. We have seen a beautiful example of how in the content making, content creation, right, and also engagement with citizens, how this is happening. Of course, all subject to regulations, privacy, engagement, etc. And when it comes to, I think the takeaway on the government side is we have to actually take the steps required to be able to really make content accessible in ways that it can actually be used without violating what I would say, privacy of data and all of the regulations that are there. And I think this is a perfect opportunity saying that as we are looking at, government to government, cross regions in really training these new LLMs, in really developing these technologies, we need to build an engagement framework of how we can really govern AI responsibly. And when I refer to the word responsible AI usage is how does it really support humanity, right? And that essentially means laws around the governance to make sure that people feel empowered, people feel the benefit, right? I mean, the benefit can be in reduction of working hours. It could be a better working life balance, right, when you use technology. It can also be, right, more, for example, incentives of bonus if you can actually create more and really create new revenue streams. So it's an era, it's a product, it's a technology that empowers us, right, to think faster, to operate faster, to create faster, and I say, create value for society and humanity.
Wonderful.
I just wanted to add one small thing, right? I love the way he put it. He said responsible AI. I just wanted to say that AI is eternally learning. So you need to be responsible with your AI.
Correct.
AI is like your baby. It is what you teach it. So teach it the right and wrong and the real rights and wrongs, and it will always stay within your structures.
Wonderful. Who knows, with the right inputs, with the right contexts, you might even see empathy coming into AI. Very important. Devroop, 2 sentences about this, and then we'll get out into the outro.
So, 2 parts to it. I think one part which the chief scientist Cyprus very rightly put in terms of role of government, I would just want to add a couple of points over there. I think governments, apart from framework, also need to look at how do you create sandboxes for a lot of startups, a lot of innovators to come in, because this is an innovative area. You need to encourage more innovation. That's one part. Second part, I think governments, at least in the initial stages, have a role on how do you create compute capacity. Compute is not going to be very cheap right away. It would become cheaper as day goes on. So governments have a role there as well. So, and I absolutely agree with what Avinash said in terms of responsible AI. The data that you feed, the data with which you train the AI models, if that is devoid of biases, you would get the right result.
Perfect. Wonderful. Wonderful. Well said. Well put. Gentlemen, this has been a truly insightful discussion. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Demetris Skourides and Devroop Dhar and Avinash Mudaliar. Really, really wonderful, truly insightful. We've explored how AI and digital transformation can help telcos, smart cities, platforms and industries move beyond buzzwords into meaningful change with collaboration, scale and people at the core. I found this chat very interesting. What did you think of your conversation here on this podcast from HTLabs?
I personally will leave inspired because the conversation opened up various different elements that can be integrated together. And, we started the conversation and we really had a real-time opportunity to see how even industries like content management, right, content creation, advertising, targeting and serving users can benefit for society, right? And at the same time, really bringing the elements of, smart cities, telcos, and the enabling blocks. What I'd like to, I think, leave the audience with is that leaving this, I basically reflect that it's not just the technology, AI as per such, it's the data, it's the infrastructure, it's the people that are going to be able to really help us, I think, demystify, how you use that insight. Those data scientists are enablers to a content management team, to the insurance groups, to the hospitals, to the government, to the policymakers, to everybody from fintech across the industry. And last but not least, I like what Devroop said with the sandbox. So yes, for those of you who are interested to build solutions and venture into Europe, Cyprus can be your gateway. We're building a fantastic ecosystem of enabling, let's say, units, both centers of excellence, infrastructure, policies, and the attractive incentives that can really help you. And should you need more information, please feel free to reach out. So delighted to be here with you, and thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Devroop?
I think it was a wonderful discussion covering all points of AI, right from what it is, what it can do, and how it's already there helping various industries.
Wonderful.
So thanks for inviting me.
Avinash?
I have a couple of agendas. One is any conversation with our chief scientist is amazing. So podcast or no podcast. So
Absolutely.
I thought this was illuminating and an enlightening discussion. The second and a very 3,000 feet high kind of thought, right? Even now, I don't think, many people haven't even adopted AI. They haven't gotten their hands dirty, even with things like ChatGPT or Gemini. Firstly, do not decide that AI is useless, right? I think AI is not useless, it's useless, right? AI is not careless, it's caredless. Show it some love and it will really pay back, right?
Wonderful. Well put. Well put. Thank you for those thoughts. And to our listeners and watchers, thank you, viewers, for tuning in. I'm Pavan Chawla, founder of MediaBrief.com and host of its flagship podcast. I look forward to bringing you, hopefully, more such conversations with HTLabs. Who knows when they happen, but honored to be here on your invitation, Avinash, and to meet with such distinguished company. Till we meet again, stay informed, stay inspired, stay safe.
This was Digital Transformation and AI for Telcos, Cities and Industries, a global dialogue on how artificial intelligence is reshaping the way we live, work and connect. Stay tuned for more conversations that matter.